I'm so mad.
We're gonna talk about the Angry Man and other updates with some nice changes, but of course, there's still things to improve. Of course, there's always things to improve. It's a playtest. Anyways, welcome to Pack Tactics. It's so cold in my country. Cobalt, I'm freezing. I gotta work Gator. I'll fix it later. Anyways, I'll be talking about the changes to Barbarian. Then I'll do some math comparison between a current subclassless Barbarian and this Barbarian subclassless, and we'll see how the damage compares. I don't normally do this because it's a lot of work, and throughout every single playtest, it's really easy to tell what the DPR increases really are. And they haven't been that significant. Maybe this one is significant. Maybe that's why I did the math. Maybe. And at the end, we'll look at the changes to the new and revised World Tree subclass. Cobalt, I love trees. When you burn them, you get warm. Gator, we have to rage. Now barbarians get back rage every short rest. Cobalt, this actually makes me happy. Yeah, they kind of failed there. You're not supposed to be happy. Anyways, jokes aside, I am thrilled with this change. This, together with the fact that it can now last up to a whole 10 minutes, makes barbarians able to rage during a lot more encounters. This is very good, and so I want to do something special. I want to do a comparison for rage uptime between the current 5e and the upcoming 5e, which is this version, by the way. For this, I assume 8 encounters in a day and 2 short rests, which splits the encounters into 2 sets of 3 and 1 set of 2. So 3 encounters, then short rest, 3 encounters, then short rest, and then 2 encounters. Additionally, I assume that 50% of the time you could bring a rage from a previous encounter to the next one, if that previous encounter wasn't before a rest. Maybe there is some easy way to do the math, but honestly, I didn't see it very fast. I have a small kobold brain. Kobold problems. Stupid kobold! Stupid! So my friend Daniel wrote an optimization problem and just ran the code to figure it out. It was kind of a quick job, so it might be off, but from napkin mathematics, it should be very close at least. You should have asked me to do it next time. Yeah, right. Well, anyways, this is basically what it looks like. Interestingly enough, with these assumptions, they basically always have rage up in encounters. While this is not an incredible bump in DPR per se, it is a fantastic addition to the Barbarian survivability, though I doubt this will make up for the changes to the damage types enemies deal, and monster damage being boosted, which Crawford announced on the 1st. That's a fact. What I mean by the damage types is they often deal force damage instead of magical bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. So while Barbarian has rage up across more encounters, they are more vulnerable in scary encounters, which are the ones that matter. So that's something to think about in the playtest. Playtest, by the way, playtest. A lot of people have been angry about me pointing out these things, but it's come on guys, it's a playtest. I have to point out these things. This is constructive feedback, it's actually a problem. Cobalt, they're supposed to be mad, it's Barbarian! Oh yeah, they're supposed to rage, my bad. Anyways, we gotta get serious. Serious tone now. Continuing on, they changed persistent rage again. I am still of the opinion that they should just allow barbarians to have rage up all the time, even outside of combat. Like I've shown already, it's not far off in combat. And if the feature did do that, you could use it for primal knowledge, for example, which is very cool. Here we go. So Brutal Critical was an absolute meme in 5e. It's a 1 DPR increase. It barely did anything. Now it's called Brutal Strike. It also doesn't really affect DPR all that much, as you're trading advantage for more damage on a hit. But it has a secondary effect. And again, I'm actually really thrilled about this. This is really fun. So Forceful Blow is something that could be combined with the Push Weapon Mastery to move a creature 25 feet away, potentially off a cliff. Or with the Charger Feet and the Hamstring Blow, it can be used to keep enemies away from you if your weapon has reach. And then you back off after attacking, of course. This is really cool. At level 13, you get more options with Staggering Blow, which can be helpful to set up strong spells. And Sundering Blow, which is not really that great except for really big damage hits. Finally, at level 17, you can use 2 Brutal Strike effects instead of 1. And the damage increases to 2d10. Okay, nice. Skadoosh. I really do approve of these changes. And by the way, I'm so happy we finally managed to convince Crawford to change Brutal Critical, like dramatically. At the interview, it seemed like he was annoyed by it because people didn't see the connection between Reckless Attack and the crits. But we did, like, Brutal Critical's been a meme for many, many years. The first time I learned about it was Xanathar's. That was like a million years ago. I don't think he meant it to sound negative or anything, but it did come off as negative. It sounded like he was annoyed. I think he should have raged instead. That would be fitting. I'm joking, by the way, guys. It's Barbarian. Come on. Cobalt, no more jokes. Yeah, we gotta optimize being boring. Anyways, guys, that's basically all the changes to base Barbarian. Now for the damage comparison. I have to preference this by saying that this is not 100% true to world comparison. I'm using older math by Moonsilver for current Barbarian. And while I wish I had a lot more time to do a super duper in-depth comparison, I didn't want to keep on making small changes. For example, one inaccuracy is that while Polar Master Fee is included in the 5e build, the reaction attacks aren't part of the DPR. So I didn't include them in the 1D&D build. That means that the 5e numbers are therefore done with a bit of injustice, as the reaction attacks do a lot more for that build. On the other hand, I didn't include the D10s from Brutal Strike, and didn't combine it with Charger for slightly higher damage. For the 5e build, it starts off with +3 strength and Polar Master, and picks up Great Weapon Master at level 4. It gets +4 strength at level 8, and +5 strength at level 12. And finally, at level 16 and 19, they get some defensive feats like Resilient Wisdom and Lucky. Lucky could be added to the DPR, but I'm not doing that. For the 1D&D build, I tried to make what seems to me like a good option for a straight class Barbarian with the new rules. We pick up Alert and Lucky at level 1 using the human species and some background, and have +3 strength. I could opt for Savage Attacker for some more damage, but I don't feel like that would be the correct choice in reality. Like, this is not as big as you think it is. At level 4, we pick up Polar Master, which brings our strength to +4. At level 8, Great Weapon Master. And at level 12, we pick up Charger, which brings our strength to +5. At level 16, we pick up something like Resilient Wisdom. And at level 19, we pick up another increase in strength, which is possible now. So we got +6 to strength right now. For the math, I will assume we use a glaive for its Graze Weapon Mastery property, until we get access to Charger. While Cleave can be slightly more damage sometimes, it's split damage, and it's not usable 100% of the time. In reality, you could swap between Glaive and Halbert, depending on what is best, like that's the most optimal, but it's not included in the math here. Once we get Charger, we use a pike until we hit and push the enemy for the purposes of Charger. We then switch to the Glaive for whatever attacks are left after this point. I assume we always use Reckless Attack, and once we get Brutal Strike, we always use it to replace one attack's advantage for the extra 1d10. I weigh the damage during Rage, and outside of Rage, based on the Rage uptime from before, we get this as a result. And as you can see, the numbers are hilariously close. We can tweak a bunch of little things, and it'll still be like hilariously close. At low levels, 1D&D Barbarian is doing worse, which makes sense. We don't need to do math to figure that out. But that could be solved by using more different weapons and using weapon swap tech. I haven't looked into that in a lot of great depth, but my opinions on weapon swap tech is I don't like it. I really don't like it. I think it's dumb. Now, obviously, I like the damage boost part of it, but I don't like the tech itself. And as you can see at the tail end, the 1D&D Barbarian is better. It's doing more DPR. This is where people like to look, and that's where people are like, oh, it's fixed. Doesn't that sound familiar? Why aren't people talking about the important things like we used to do? Like Tier 1 and Tier 2. You know, where we play the game the most. Why can't we look at the whole picture like this? Instead, we just randomly jump to, for example, level 13 and analyze level 13. Ah, let's do math for level 13. Ah, this is clearly better. Let's look at everything. everything. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. This is my opinion, and this applies to all the martials. The gap needs to be bigger. Even if subclass damage increases favor the new Barbarian, I think that especially in Tier 1 and Tier 2, they should be boosted. It doesn't matter if that also boosts the tail end of the class, because this is the main damage dealer class. It's literally their job. We should make them feel powerful and scary in melee. With the way it currently works, the old Barbarian is going to be gaining a lot more damage based on accuracy increasing strategies. This allows them to deal a bunch more damage in reality. Another reason it needs to be boosted is because Crawford said last Friday they boosted monster sturdiness and damage, but are not changing the CR. That means this Barbarian's damage boost, like specifically the tail end, it might not actually mean anything, but we don't really know for sure besides what they told us. We need a new and improved main damage dealer at every level, not something that's equally balanced to the old Barbarian. And this applies to all the martials in general. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually do like the direction they're taking with this Barbarian right now. I really do. They're genuinely making this more fun, allowing them to rage more, which is cool. That's like the whole point. But the thing is, like the damage resistances that I talked about before, and the not great improvements to damage makes me want to see more. I hope with all of this work, you can see where I'm coming from. This took forever to set up. I don't think I'll be doing something like this until something dramatic happens or, the book releases. Anyways, let's finish up by looking at the World Tree subclass. Yeah, we still got more Barbarian. I don't know if you guys forgot about that. Most of these changes are pretty cool. However, I still have some notes. For some reason, Life-Giving Force still gives more HP to allies than Vitality Surge gives HP to the Barbarian itself. I think that's really dumb, so I think it should be revised. Next, Branches of the Tree. At the start of a creature's turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to teleport that creature to you. It's a strength saving throw, and their speed is reduced to 0. I have to admit, this is pretty clever. I've never seen or thought of something like this. I actually really like it. Even though I didn't really get what I wanted with an AoE, I'm actually fine with this. This is really cool. But also, I do agree with Daniel. Volunteering being able to fail the saving throw as a general rule should not be possible. I think exceptions can be made where it's reasonable, but planar binding is not one of them, for example. No way. Battering Root's wording was made a bit clearer, and you can use the 2 specific weapon mastery properties at the same time. Very good. And finally, Travel Along the Tree has gotten a way bigger use case for a party as well as Barbarian itself. In the last iteration, it was just Teleport Circle and another teleport spell, which is not really helpful for your party. Most parties got Teleport Circle a long time ago. Now it's more of an in-combat transportation tool. This is really good because a mass dimension door once per short rest is quite useful. I do think they should clean up the wording a bit for the limitation. Right now, it's ambiguous. If choosing to teleport 500 feet by yourself means you aren't teleporting creatures with you. This makes it repeatable. When I covered this with Daniel the first time, I didn't think too much of it. I just liked the flavor. But now I've swung around. I actually really like this. I still want to see Vitality of the Tree revised and maybe some more damage output. But other than that, I'm happy. Now I've covered everything from Playtest 8. There is more 1D&D videos I want to make. We gotta talk about the glossary again. But I'm kind of worried that nobody's gonna watch it because it's the glossary. There's things in there I really want them to fix, and one of them is weapon swap tech. Anyways, end the video. I hope I earned your subscription. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye!